Have you ever stopped for just a moment and asked yourself a question that could change your entire life? Who is your greatest enemy? Is it the world, the circumstances you were born into, or the people who constantly doubted you, criticized you, and made you feel like you would never be enough? No, the greatest enemy you'll ever face isn't outside you. It's your own mind, the same mind that never stays still. One moment, it's replaying painful memories from the past. The next, it's racing toward an uncertain future filled with fear and anxiety. It never truly rests. It never truly stays here, in the present moment. Most people believe they control their minds, but the truth is far more disturbing. Your mind is controlling you. It decides when you feel happy. It decides when you feel broken. It fills you with anger, with fear, with doubt. And sometimes, it defeats you long before life ever gets the chance. More than 2,500 years ago, Gautama Buddha uncovered a truth so powerful that it continues to transform lives even today. He said, "The one who conquers the mind conquers the world." Yet, despite hearing wisdom like this, most of us spend our entire lives trapped inside our own thoughts. When the mind whispers, "Stay in bed, you can start tomorrow," we obey. When it says, "Get angry, show them who you are," we lose our peace. When it tells us, "You're unhappy," we instantly believe it without even realizing it. We've handed over control of our lives. The servant has become the master, and we have become its slaves. But today, that changes. Today, we're going to explore one of the most profound teachings ever shared by Gautama Buddha. A timeless wisdom that taught countless people how to become masters of their own minds instead of prisoners of their thoughts. A wisdom that remains just as relevant today as it was 25 centuries ago. Because here's the truth. If you don't learn to control your mind will continue controlling you, slowly stealing your peace, your focus, your confidence, your strength, until one day you no longer recognize the person you've become. So today, we're opening the door to one of life's greatest mysteries. How do you master the mind? How do you stop being controlled by your thoughts? How do you transform your mind from your master into your greatest servant? And how do you discover the same inner peace, the same unshakable balance, and the same silent strength that made Buddha's followers fearless, even in the face of suffering? This isn't just another motivational story. This is an inner journey, a journey deep into your own consciousness, where you'll begin discovering the person you've always been beneath the noise of your thoughts. Because remember this, Buddha isn't waiting somewhere outside for you to find him. The wisdom of Buddha already exists within you. The reason people lose in life isn't because their problems are too great. They lose because their greatest enemy already lives inside them, their own mind. A mind that can be as calm as a peaceful lake or as destructive as a violent storm. The same mind that steals your sleep at night, yet holds the incredible power to create a heaven within your own heart. If only you learn how to understand it, guide it, and finally, master it. If your mind isn't your servant, it will inevitably become your master. And the moment that happens, something invisible begins to take control of your life. You stop making conscious choices. Instead, your thoughts begin making them for you. Think about your everyday life. The alarm rings in the morning. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind whispers, just 5 more minutes. 5 minutes become 30. The day begins with delay. Not because you chose it, but because your mind did. Later, you sit down to work on something important. A goal you've been dreaming about. But suddenly, another voice appears. Check your phone first. Watch one more video. You'll start in a minute. 1 minute becomes an hour, and another opportunity quietly slips away. Has that ever happened to you? Of course it has, because this isn't your weakness. It's the nature of an untrained mind. The mind constantly seeks comfort. It avoids discomfort, and it runs away from anything that demands discipline. Now imagine someone insults you. Before you even think, anger explodes. Your heartbeat rises. Your muscles tighten. Your words become weapons. A few minutes later, you regret everything you said, but the damage has already been done. Who made that decision? Was it really you? Or was it your mind reacting automatically? This is exactly what Buddha wanted people to understand. Most human beings don't actually live consciously. They simply react. Every emotion pulls them in a different direction. Every desire becomes an order. Every fear becomes a prison. And without realizing it, their entire life is controlled by invisible habits. Buddha once taught, victory over yourself is greater than victory over 1,000 battles, because conquering the outside world means very little. If your own mind remains unconquered, imagine becoming wealthy, powerful, famous, yet still being unable to sleep peacefully, still living with anxiety, still being controlled by anger, still being a prisoner of endless thoughts. Is that true success? Buddha would say, no, because real freedom begins inside. There is an old story about a man who came to Buddha seeking help. He bowed respectfully and said, Master, my mind never stops. It keeps running from one thought to another. I try to calm it, but it only becomes louder. Please tell me, how can I make it silent? Buddha smiled. He didn't offer a complicated philosophy. He simply said, your mind runs because you've spent your entire life teaching it to run. You never taught it how to be still. The man looked confused. Then how do I stop it? Buddha replied, don't chase it. Don't fight it. Simply watch it. Watch your thoughts the way you would watch fish swimming beneath the surface of a quiet lake. Don't jump into the water. Just observe. At first, the man didn't understand. How could simply watching the mind change anything? But Buddha knew something extraordinary. The moment you become the observer, you stop becoming the prisoner. Your thoughts lose their power because you're no longer trapped inside them. Most people spend their lives trying to force the mind into silence. They suppress emotions. They resist thoughts. They fight themselves every single day. But the harder they fight, the stronger the mind becomes. Buddha taught a completely different path. Don't suppress the mind. Understand it, because the mind isn't your enemy. It's like a frightened child, running in every direction, searching for safety. If you scream at that child, it becomes even more frightened. But if you patiently understand it, guide it, and remain present, eventually, it becomes calm on its own. The same is true for your mind. Every fear, every burst of anger, every wave of sadness, every anxious thought is asking for awareness, not punishment. That is why Buddha never taught people to hate the mind. He taught them to understand it, because understanding creates freedom, and freedom creates peace. The greatest prison isn't made of steel. It is built from unconscious thoughts. The greatest battle isn't fought with weapons. It is fought within your own awareness. And the greatest victory you will ever achieve is the moment your mind finally stops controlling you and begins following you instead. Have you ever wondered why peace never seems to last? Why even after achieving something you've dreamed about, your mind immediately begins searching for the next problem? The answer is simpler than most people realize. The mind was never trained to remain in the present. It lives in only two places: the past and the future. Very rarely does it live here, in this moment. This is why Buddha said that most human suffering is created not by reality, but by the stories the mind keeps telling itself. Think about it. How many nights have you spent replaying a painful conversation that happened years ago? How many hours have disappeared because you kept imagining a future that hasn't even arrived? Your body sits here, but your mind is somewhere else. And the farther your mind travels away from the present, the farther you travel away from yourself. This is where anxiety is born. This is where fear grows. This is where peace quietly disappears. Buddha observed something extraordinary about the human mind. He noticed that people rarely suffer because of the present moment itself. They suffer because they keep carrying yesterday, or they keep fearing tomorrow. The present moment is almost always much lighter than the burden created by imagination. Yet, the mind refuses to stay here. It keeps asking, what if I fail? What if they reject me? What if something goes wrong? Or it drags you back into old memories. Why did that happen to me? I should have said something different. If only I could go back. But you can't. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist yet. Only this moment is real. And yet, the mind spends almost no time living in it. One day, a disciple asked Buddha, "Master, why does my mind keep wandering, even when I want it to stay still?" Buddha smiled gently. Then he picked up a handful of sand and let it slowly fall through his fingers. He said, "Trying to hold the mind by force is like trying to hold sand in a closed fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes." Then he opened his hand. The remaining grains rested peacefully in his palm. A calm hand holds what force never can. That was the lesson. Peace never comes through control. It comes through awareness. Most people declare war against their own minds. They fight every thought, every emotion, every fear. But the mind grows stronger through resistance. What you fight persists. What you observe begins to lose its power. This is why Buddha never described meditation as a battle. He described it as awakening, not forcing, but noticing, not escaping, but becoming fully present. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves float across the water. You don't jump in to catch every leaf. You simply watch them pass. Your thoughts are exactly the same. Each one appears. Each one disappears. The problem begins only when you chase them. The moment you follow every thought, you lose yourself. But the moment you simply observe, you discover something extraordinary. You are not the thought. You are the one watching it. That single realization changes everything. Because the observer is always peaceful. Only the mind is restless. Only the mind is afraid. Only the mind creates endless noise. Buddha often reminded his followers, the mind can be your greatest prison or your greatest liberation. The choice begins with awareness. Every time your mind rushes into yesterday, gently bring it back. Every time it races toward tomorrow, Bring it back again, not with frustration, not with anger, but with patience, just as a loving parent guides a wandering child back home, again and again and again. At first, nothing seems to change. The mind continues running, but slowly, something remarkable begins to happen. The distance between your thoughts grows wider. The noise becomes quieter. The storm begins to settle. And beneath all that noise, you discover something that has always been there. A deep, unshakable, silent peace. Not created by the world, not given by anyone else. A peace that has always existed within you, waiting patiently for you to finally come home. Everything begins with one simple realization. You are not your mind. Read that again. You are not your mind. This may sound like a small idea, but if you truly understand it, it can completely transform your life. Most people spend their entire lives believing every thought that enters their heads. If the mind says, "I'm a failure," they believe it. If it says, "Nobody loves me," they accept it as truth. If it whispers, "You'll never succeed," they stop trying. But Buddha asked a question that changes everything. If you can observe your thoughts, then who is doing the observing? Think about that. If you can hear your inner voice, then you cannot be the voice itself. You are the one listening. Inside every human being, there are two forces. One speaks, the other watches. The one that speaks is the mind. The one that watches is awareness. And awareness is who you truly are. The mind changes every second. One moment it feels excited. The next, it feels hopeless. One day, it is confident. The next day, it is filled with fear. The mind is constantly changing, but the awareness behind it never changes. It simply watches. Imagine you're standing beside a busy highway. Thousands of cars rush past. Some are beautiful. Some are old and damaged. Some move slowly. Others speed by. Do you chase every car? Of course not. You simply stand there and watch. Your thoughts are exactly the same. They arrive. They stay for a moment. Then they disappear. The problem begins when you jump onto every passing thought. The moment you ride with anger, you become angry. The moment you ride with fear, you become afraid. The moment you ride with doubt, you forget your own strength. But Buddha taught something extraordinary. Don't ride the thoughts, watch them, because the observer is always free. One day, a seeker came to Buddha and said, "Master, every time I meditate, my mind becomes even louder. The thoughts never stop." Buddha smiled gently. Then he asked, "When clouds cover the sky, does the sky disappear?" The seeker replied, "No, the sky is still there." Buddha nodded. "Exactly. Your thoughts are the clouds. You are the sky. Clouds come, clouds go, storms appear, storms disappear, but the sky remains untouched. The same is true for you. Thoughts are temporary. Emotions are temporary. Fear is temporary. Anger is temporary. But your awareness is always present. The moment you stop identifying with every thought, something incredible happens. The mind begins losing its power over you. An insult no longer controls your emotions. Failure no longer destroys your confidence. Fear no longer decides your future. Because now, there is space between you and your thoughts. That space is freedom. Buddha called this the beginning of true awakening. Not changing the mind, but changing your relationship with it. You don't have to silence every thought. You don't have to destroy your emotions. You simply have to remember, you are the observer, not the noise. Every great transformation begins here. Not by controlling the outside world, but by quietly watching the world within. Because the day you stop saying, "I am my thoughts," and begin saying, "I am the one watching my thoughts," is the day your freedom truly begins. That is the first great secret of mastering the mind. Most people believe that mastering the mind means silencing every thought. They believe they must force themselves to stop thinking, to eliminate fear, to destroy anger, to erase every negative emotion. But Buddha taught something completely different. The mind was never meant to be fought. It was meant to be understood. Imagine standing in the middle of a violent storm. The harder you fight the wind, the more exhausted you become. But if you simply find your balance, the storm gradually loses its power over you. The mind works the same way. The more you fight your thoughts, the stronger they become. Have you ever tried not to think about something? Suddenly, it's all you can think about. The more you resist, the more it returns. Buddha understood this thousands of years ago. He knew that resistance feeds the mind, but awareness weakens it. One afternoon, a disciple approached Buddha with frustration. "Master," he said, "no matter how hard I try, I cannot stop my thoughts. The more I meditate, the louder my mind becomes." Buddha picked up a bowl of muddy water. He gently stirred it with his hand. The water became cloudy. Nothing could be seen beneath the surface. Then he placed the bowl on the ground and simply waited. He didn't shake it. He didn't force it to become clear. He just allowed it to rest. A few moments later, the mud slowly settled. The water became perfectly clear. Buddha smiled and said, "The mind is exactly like this bowl. If you keep stirring it with fear, resistance, and frustration, it will never become clear. Leave it alone, watch it patiently, and clarity will come by itself." That lesson changed the disciple forever, because for the first time, he realized peace isn't something you create. It's something you uncover. It's already there, hidden beneath restless thoughts. This is why Buddha never encouraged people to suppress emotions. If sadness appears, observe it. If anger arises, notice it. If fear enters your heart, don't run from it. Simply ask, "Who is aware of this fear?" Immediately, something changes. You stop becoming the emotion. You become the witness. And the witness can never be trapped. Every emotion has a beginning. Every emotion has an ending. No feeling lasts forever. Yet awareness remains. Always present. Always silent. Always free. This is the doorway to inner freedom. Not by changing what appears inside your mind, but by realizing you are infinitely greater than anything that appears within it. The moment you stop fighting yourself, you stop creating unnecessary suffering. The moment you stop chasing every thought, the me kind begins slowing down naturally. And in that silence, you discover something extraordinary. You discover that peace was never missing. It was simply buried beneath years of unconscious thinking. Buddha often reminded his followers, just as clear water reflects the moon, a quiet mind reflects truth. So don't fear your thoughts. Don't hate your emotions. Don't wage war against your own mind. Instead, become still. Become aware. Become the silent observer. Because the greatest victory isn't forcing the mind into silence. The greatest victory is realizing that your true self has always been silent. The mind is powerful. In fact, it's the most powerful tool you'll ever possess. But like every powerful tool, it must be trained. An untrained mind creates confusion. A trained mind creates freedom. Have you ever noticed how easily the mind forms habits? The first time you react with anger, it feels difficult. The second time, it becomes easier. Eventually, anger becomes automatic. The same is true for fear, for worry, for jealousy, for self-doubt. Every thought you repeat becomes a path your mind learns to follow. And after years of walking that same path, you begin believing that's simply who you are. But Buddha taught something revolutionary. You are not born with an undisciplined mind. You train it every single day. The real question is, what are you training it to become? Imagine a wild horse running freely across an open field. It's incredibly strong, fast, fearless, but completely uncontrollable. No one can ride it. No one can guide it. Its power becomes useless because it has no direction. Now imagine that same horse, patiently trained, not through violence, but through consistency, day after day. The horse begins to trust its rider. Its strength doesn't disappear. It becomes focused, disciplined, purposeful. Your mind is no different. If you never train it, it will chase every desire, every distraction, every emotion, every temptation. But once it's disciplined, the same mind becomes your greatest ally. One day, a young man asked Buddha, "Master, why does my mind refuse to obey me?" Buddha replied, "Because you've spent years obeying your mind." The young man fell silent. For the first time, he understood. His mind wasn't rebellious. It had simply become accustomed to giving the orders. Every time it demanded comfort, he surrendered. Every time it wanted distraction, he followed. Every time it created fear, he believed it. Without realizing it, he had trained his own prison. Buddha smiled and continued, "The mind learns through repetition. What you repeat, you become." This is why small daily actions matter far more than dramatic moments. Every time you choose patience over anger, you strengthen patience. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, you strengthen discipline. Every time you return your attention to the present, you strengthen awareness. Little by little, the mind begins changing, not overnight, not through force, but through consistent practice. Think of a river, drop by drop. It carves valleys through solid rock, not because the water is stronger, but because it never stops flowing. The same is true for your mind. One small act of awareness today, another tomorrow, another the day after. Eventually, your entire way of thinking begins to change. This is why Buddha never promised instant transformation. He promised a path walked one mindful step at a time. Some days, your mind will wander. Some days, old habits will return. Some days, you'll feel like you've made no progress at all. Keep walking. Even the tallest mountain is climbed, one step at a time. Even the strongest tree began as a tiny seed. Mastery isn't built in a single moment. It's built through thousands of ordinary moments. When no one is watching, when you quietly choose awareness over impulse, presence over distraction, wisdom over reaction, that is how the mind is transformed. And one day, without even noticing when it happened, you'll realize something extraordinary. The same situations that once filled you with anger no longer disturb you. The fears that once controlled your life have lost their grip. The distractions that once stole your attention no longer seem important, not because the world changed, but because you did. That is the true meaning of discipline. Not controlling the world around you, but becoming the master of the world within you. And according to Buddha, there is no greater victory than that. If there is one place where your mind can never truly suffer, it is the present moment. Read that again. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, only right now. Yet this is the one place where the mind spends the least amount of time. It constantly escapes. One moment, it drags you back into old memories. The next, it throws you into an imaginary future. And somewhere between those two illusions, you lose your life. Buddha discovered a truth that most people never realize. The past exists only as memory. The future exists only as imagination. The only place where life actually exists is this very moment. Look around you, right now, in this exact second. Are you truly in danger? Or is your mind creating stories about what might happen next? Most of our suffering never comes from reality. It comes from imagination. We suffer over conversations that haven't happened, problems that don't exist, fears that may never become real. And while we're busy worrying about tomorrow, today quietly slips away. Buddha once asked his disciples, "Where does life happen?" Some answered, "In our actions." Others replied, "In our thoughts." Buddha gently smiled. Then he said, "Life happens only in the present moment. Miss the present, and you miss life itself." Those words carried extraordinary wisdom, because every beautiful experience, every breath, every heartbeat, every smile exists only now. You cannot breathe yesterday's air. You cannot live tomorrow's sunrise. Everything you will ever experience will happen in this moment. That is why Buddha taught mindfulness, not as a religious ritual, but as a way of returning home. Imagine holding a glass of water. The glass isn't heavy, but if you hold it for 5 minutes, your arm begins to ache. Hold it for an hour. The pain becomes unbearable. Hold it all day, and eventually, you can no longer lift your arm. The weight never changed. What changed was how long you carried it. Your thoughts are exactly the same. The problem isn't that painful thoughts appear. The problem is that you keep carrying them. You replay them again and again and again until they become part of your identity. Buddha taught a different way. Notice the thought, learn from it, then let it go. Just as a tree lets go of its leaves when the season changes. A tree never clings to dead leaves because it trusts that new ones will grow. Why then do we keep holding on to pain that no longer serves us? Why do we keep carrying guilt, old regrets, and forgotten disappointments? The answer is simple. Because the mind fears letting go. It believes that holding on to suffering somehow protects us. But it never does. It only makes the burden heavier. One evening, a traveler asked Buddha, "Master, how do I find peace?" Buddha pointed toward the setting sun. He said, "Can you stop the sun from setting?" The traveler replied, "Of course not." Buddha asked again, "Can you stop the river from flowing?" "No." "Can you stop the wind from blowing?" "No." Then Buddha smiled. If you cannot control nature, why do you spend your life trying to control every moment of your own life? Learn to flow with life, not against it. That is the secret of inner peace. Not controlling everything, but accepting what already is. The present moment asks for nothing. It simply asks you to be here, fully, completely, without rushing, without resisting, without escaping. The more you return to the present, the quieter your mind becomes. The quieter your mind becomes, the clearer your life becomes. And when the noise finally disappears, you discover something remarkable. Peace was never hiding somewhere in the future. It was waiting for you in this moment. All along, throughout history, human beings have fought countless wars. Wars for land, wars for power, wars for wealth, wars for victory. But Buddha revealed a truth that very few people truly understand. The greatest battle is never fought outside. It is fought within, every single day. Two forces exist inside you. One pulls you toward fear, the other calls you toward wisdom. One whispers, give up. The other quietly says, take one more step. One is driven by impulse, the other by awareness. Every decision you make strengthens one of these two voices. The question is, which one are you feeding? Imagine two wolves living inside your heart. One is filled with anger, greed, envy, pride, and endless fear. The other carries compassion, patience, courage, wisdom, and peace. A young student once asked an old master, which wolf wins? The master smiled. The one you feed every day? Your mind works exactly the same way. Every time you choose anger, anger grows stronger. Every time you choose kindness, kindness becomes easier. Every repeated choice becomes your character. Buddha understood that transformation never happens in one dramatic moment. It happens quietly. Choice by choice, thought by thought, breath by breath. One evening, a man came to Buddha in tears. Master, I keep failing. No matter how hard I try, I always return to my old habits. Maybe I can never change? Buddha looked at him with compassion. Then he picked up a tiny seed lying on the ground. Holding it in his hand, he asked, what do you see? The man replied, a seed. Buddha smiled. No, I see a forest. The man looked confused. Buddha continued, everything begins as something small. A giant tree begins as a tiny seed. A river begins as a single drop. A peaceful mind begins with one conscious choice. Those words changed the man's life forever, because he realized he wasn't failing. He was growing. Slowly, quietly, patiently, just like nature. Most people quit because they expect instant results. But nature has never been in a hurry. The sun never rushes to rise. The moon never rushes to appear. A flower never forces itself to bloom overnight. Yet everything arrives at exactly the right time. Why should your inner growth be any different? Every day, you choose awareness over impulse. You're planting another seed. Every time you forgive instead of seeking revenge, another seed grows. Every time you remain calm when anger demands control, another root grows deeper. At first, nothing seems to change, but beneath the surface, everything is changing. One day, without warning, you wake up and realize the things that once disturbed your peace no longer have power over you. The fears that once controlled your decisions have become distant memories. The person who once reacted to everything now responds with wisdom. That is real transformation. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you truly were before fear took over. Buddha often reminded his followers, no one saves us but ourselves. No teacher, no book, no miracle can walk this path for you. Others may show you the way, but only you can take the next step. And every step you take with awareness is a step toward freedom. The battle has never been against the world. It has always been against ignorance, against unconscious habits, against believing every thought your mind creates. The moment awareness becomes stronger than impulse, the battle is already won. Because true victory is not standing above others. True victory is standing above your own fears. That is the victory Buddha called the beginning of enlightenment, the final freedom. becoming the master of your mind. There comes a moment, after years of struggle, after countless battles with fear, after endless conversations with your own thoughts, when something extraordinary begins to happen. The mind finally grows quiet, not because you forced it into silence, not because you've defeated it, but because you've stopped believing every story it tells. This is true freedom. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change the world around them. They search for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect amount of money, the perfect circumstances, believing that happiness is waiting somewhere outside themselves. But Buddha discovered something astonishing. Nothing outside you has the power to disturb you, unless your mind gives it permission. Two people can face the exact same storm. One breaks apart, the other becomes stronger. The storm wasn't different, the mind was. This is why Buddha never promised a life without suffering. He promised something far greater, a mind that cannot be shaken by suffering. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. Dark clouds gather overhead. Lightning flashes across the sky. Powerful winds roar through the valley. The mountain never runs, never resists, never complains. It simply stands, strong, still, unmoved. That mountain is the mind of an awakened person. Life will continue to bring challenges. People will still criticize you. Plans will still fail. Loss will still come. Nothing about the outside world is guaranteed, but your response can become unshakable. One day, a wealthy merchant approached Buddha. He had everything people dream of: luxury, power, respect. In his heart, he remained restless. He bowed before Buddha. Master, I have everything. Why am I still unhappy? Buddha looked into his eyes and quietly replied, because you've spent your life collecting possessions, but you've never learned how to let go. The merchant was confused. Let go of what? Buddha answered. Your fear, your pride, your endless desires, your attachment to how life must be. These are the chains that keep the mind imprisoned. The merchant sat in silence. For the first time, he realized his prison had never been built by the world. He had built it himself, brick by brick, thought by thought, fear by fear. That is the greatest illusion of the human mind. It convinces you that freedom exists somewhere outside. Real freedom begins the moment nothing outside can steal your peace. When someone insults you, you remain calm. When success arrives, you remain humble. When failure visits, you remain hopeful. When uncertainty appears, you remain present. Because your happiness is no longer dependent on circumstances. It comes from within. Buddha called this inner liberation, a state where the mind serves wisdom instead of controlling it. At this stage, you no longer react to every emotion. You observe it. You no longer chase every desire. You understand it. You no longer fear every challenge. You grow through it. The world around you will remain exactly the same. Your experience of the world changes completely. And that is the greatest transformation a human being can experience. Because the strongest person isn't the one who defeats others. The strongest person is the one who remains peaceful while the world around them is filled with chaos. That is the power of a disciplined mind. That is the wisdom of a Buddha. And that is the doorway to a life of lasting peace. If you walk this journey into this moment, you've probably realized something important. The greatest battle was never against the world. It was never against difficult was always against the unconscious mind. For years, he believed everything, he followed every emotion, he reacted to every situation without questioning. Now, something has changed. Now you know your thoughts, your feelings. You are not your anger. You are the awareness that silently watches them all. And that awareness is untouchable. This is the beginning of true freedom. Buddha never wanted people to worship him. He wanted people to awaken. He never said, "Follow me forever." Instead, he encouraged people to discover the truth within themselves. Because truth borrowed from someone else can inspire you, but truth discovered within yourself can transform you forever. Imagine walking through a dark forest at night. For hours, you search desperately for someone to guide you, someone to carry a torch, someone to show you the path. Then suddenly, you realize the light was never outside. It was already in your hands. You simply forgot to turn it on. That is exactly what awakening feels like. Nothing outside changes. The world remains the same. People remain the same. Challenges remain the same. But you are no longer the same. You no longer allow fear to make your decisions. You no longer allow anger to control your words. You no longer allow anxiety to steal your present moment. Because now, the mind works for you, not against you. Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Those words contain an entire lifetime of wisdom. Every person you know, every peaceful soul you've ever met, every truly happy human being didn't find peace by controlling the world. They found peace by mastering themselves. That is why no amount of money can guarantee happiness. No amount of fame can guarantee peace. No relationship can earn people fear. Because anything that depends on the outside world can disappear. The peace that comes from awareness can never be taken. There will still be difficult days. There will still be moments of loss. There will still be pain. Buddha never denied that suffering exists. He simply showed us that suffering doesn't have to become our identity. Pain may not be wrong, but suffering only enters when the mind invites it inside. From this day forward, whenever anger appears, observe it. Whenever fear arrives, welcome to awareness. Whenever doubt whispers, smile. And remember, it is only another passing cloud. You are the sky. You have always been the sky. Clouds come, clouds go, storms rise, storms fade. But the sky remains untouched. That is your true nature. So as this journey comes to an end, perhaps the most important question isn't, did you understand the book? The real question is, did you begin to understand yourself? Because the day you truly know yourself, the world loses its power to control you. And the day your mind becomes your servant instead of your master, you discover a freedom that no one can ever take away. So, take one conscious breath. Be fully present. Feel this moment. Because this moment is life itself. Remember, the Buddha you have been searching for has never been somewhere else. He has always been